What I don't understand is, okay, so I'm just going to say it, but from a porn standpoint, there's XTube, which that clearly we know what that is. And then there's Pornhub. We completely know what that is. Um, why would you name a porn site Hamster? Like, I'm looking to adopt a cat, or maybe I'm looking for hamsters. That's like, to me, going to go completely sideways. I'm just saying that's something that I might have discovered this week.
And now, a whole new way to watch radio. This is the Dennis George Show. Here's your host, Dennis George.
And welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Hello, hello. We have got a fantastic show for you. In the house, Mitch is here. Hey. Mitch, how are you?
I'm beside myself right now, all right? So, I mean, have you never heard of, like, what happened to Richard Gere? The rumors about Richard Gere and the Hamsters?
No. I mean, I saw Officer and a Gentleman, which was a great movie long time ago.
Oh. So, there's a rumor going around that he likes to send gerbils up the...
What?
Hamsters. Yeah.
Is that how the website got its name?
I wasn't around when they decided what the name was. I was not a fly on the wall in that boardroom, and I wouldn't want to be a fly on the wall in that boardroom because it's probably sticky.
Ew.
Speaking of what I don't understand, let's talk for a minute about where you're at.
No, we'll get to that in a minute. What did you do this week, Mitch?
So I had a really interesting week. Somebody sent us a gift package for the inauguration, and I wasn't expecting it. No one told me that it was arriving.
Yeah.
And so yesterday I get this Amazon package that I'm not aware. Okay, that just vanished out of nowhere. I'm not aware of what it was, and I open it up and it just says inauguration gift. And I'm like, okay, could someone crazy have sent me something? And this is like, a booby trap?
You think you're on the anthrax target list?
I am a big deal.
A tool.
Oh Lord. So was it anything nefarious?
No, apparently it was just an inauguration coin.
Oh, okay. You're holding it up there. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
all
and
right.
they're really cool. They're really nice. They're really pretty.
Yeah.
But scared the hell out of me for a minute. So
All right.
was,
Sam is here. Sam, how are you?
What is up, people?
What's going on with you? What'd you do this week? What's going on?
I would have been worried it was a glitter bomb, first of all.
Oh, good point.
I actually just got back from the country.
Country?
Yeah. So I have a friend that lives about an hour away from me, and I go out there and I get spoiled rotten. So I think it'll be easiest to go backwards in time of things that I had. So this morning I had a chocolate croissant, a cinnamon sticky bun with like pecans on it and bacon.
Were those out of the can?
No, they were not out of a Pillsbury can. They were Williams Sonoma, I believe, is where she got those.
The people who make wine?
No. Mostly kitchen gadgets is what they usually make. But so that was just breakfast. Last night I had a veal chop, like au gratin potatoes, a wedge salad, and then charcuterie board. So I just get literally spoiled. It was amazing. And I probably drank way too much wine.
Is it like a bed and breakfast in the country?
It's like a bed and breakfast, but it's like a bed and spoil you rotten. Bed and breakfast, you just get breakfast.
But there's not other guests. You're the number one guest.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great. It was a good time.
That sounds like a fantastic time.
It is.
Wow. Yeah. Debbie's in the house. Debbie, how are you?
Hey, howdy, everybody. Sam, I just want to know who this friend is and how I can get hooked up with this.
Seriously.
I think we can arrange this. I think it can be done.
You know what we should do? We should do the show from there, is what we should do. It would be fantastic. And then we give this person some props, but also we can
Right.
show off the fantastic food you're talking about.
Oh my God. You walk in and like her whole buffet and table is just filled with stuff.
Oh,
Is it all homemade?
It's all homemade mostly.
were you
Yeah.
hanging out with Martha Stewart this weekend?
Kind of.
It sounds like this woman's got Martha Stewart beat.
On steroids.
Wow.
I mean,
Do a
beat
food
her
and
like she
cocktail
stole
show.
something.
Right.
Yeah.
Denny G's in the house. How are you?
I am doing splendid this week. How about yourself?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Debbie, I didn't ask you. What did you do this week?
Well, it was a quiet week, but I had some friends over, a couple friends over yesterday for brunch, and
Yeah.
we may or may not have had a lot to drink yesterday.
Oh.
It was a good time. We sat around, chatted. I hadn't caught up with them for a while, so it was just fantastic to chillax. And we had brunch, so I did feed them at least.
Now, when you're drinking, Debbie, do you have to literally hide your phone from yourself so that you don't drunk text people, or do you have self-control unlike some people here?
I I used to not have as much control when I would text a bunch of people, but my texting has become a little more limited and very purposeful these days, even if
Yeah.
it's just to share funny stuff. But I have a smaller group of people that I text with now, so it's much better than it used to be. But yeah, I used to send some pretty, and it wasn't horrible, but just funny stuff. I would say, "Oh my gosh," some random thought would pop into my head, and I would text it off. So no,
Right.
I do not have to hide my phone from myself.
Have you ever
Right.
drunk texted the wrong person?
No.
Oh, I have. Oh my.
Oh, right. Like my mom and my boss, like my boss's name, my old boss's name started with an M and it was right next to mom in the phone.
Uh-oh.
Not
Nice.
good.
More than once. More than once.
Did you get rode up?
No, I just had to give him a warning and be like, dude, look, I was drunk and your name's right next to my mom in the phone.
Denny G, what did you do this week?
I played a lot of golf and hung some cafe lights, which was easy.
What the hell is
this
a cafe light?
Say again?
Right.
What the hell is a cafe light?
Those are those lights that you typically see strung across sidewalks and places where you eat. Those little lights. that are-
Oh.
Like the Edison
Like-
bulb type things?
Yeah. That kind
Okay.
of stuff. Cafe
Carnival
lights.
stringers, like carnival stringers.
Yeah, but it's cafe light. So when you look them up.
Carnival stringers?
It does have a better ring to it.
Yeah, that stuff is installed an XM radio antenna, so I'm getting that all set up down here. And
At your house?
yeah,
So XM radio, you can put an antenna and then you can listen to it in your home.
yes, but I'm doing it out on a patio. Yes,
Interesting. Gotcha.
Yeah, I got a roadie, an XM radio roadie. It was for one of my cars that I used to have in the car, but I no longer have it there. This car I bought subsequent to that already had it installed, so now that just sits somewhere, and now it's down here.
No.
I always thought a roadie was a cocktail that you took on the road.
So
That
did
is true.
I.
It's very true. It's very true. It's very,
The roadie
Like-
sody?
Yeah, it's smart of XM to be marketing to that crowd.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they got Howard Stern, so they gotta.
Right. It's
All
a
right.
little roadie
Marketing
device. It
cafe.
has right. It's a roadie device. It has a cup holder attached to it.
I think you
Yay.
probably could get those.
Right.
Yeah.
What is that company that makes those mats and things like that?
WeatherTech.
WeatherTech,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I always thought WeatherTech should make a cup holder for a cup holder. They got a
You
cup
might be
holder.
onto something.
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
All right. So I'm
Absolutely.
really afraid to ask this question, especially knowing where Dennis is right now. Dennis, what did you do this week?
Well, you may notice that I'm in my basement this morning because I'm repainting the studio. So
I really love the color.
Mhm.
yeah, it's the basement I went with sort of a red kind of motif because I
Mhm.
thought that would be pretty nice. But the studio I'm repainting, so red's a pretty popular color. So I'll be back in the studio next week, but this week I'm in the basement. That's why.
So the repainted studio, is it also going to have mirrors on the ceiling?
Well, I like that because if I've fallen and I can't get up, I can at least see around the room.
Just to what end? I think it would be more important to have a
OMG.
life alert or something.
I
if
know, I
you're
was about to say,
gonna
we
fall.
need to
Right.
get you a life alert.
You might want to put a handrail in or something.
Start looking at a place for mom.
Okay.
I think
No, have you
that's
never
over
seen
in
those
that corner
websites?
in that little
Oh.
dungeon area,
Yeah.
a little prison.
Yeah, well, if you all want to see what our backgrounds look like, where we are, you can always go to YouTube, Dennis George Show, and we put up all the shows on there. Hey, here's the other thing I was really sort of okay, so I have a problem. Here's the problem. I don't
Just
know
one?
One.
Yeah,
One.
just one.
That's one.
They don't, and maybe your parents are supposed to do this. I'm not sure, but people don't tell you what you're supposed to know to go through life. Like there's stuff that's missing. Let me give you an example. Hard-boiled eggs. Okay, so I learned this week the proper way to peel a hard-boiled egg. Up until this point, I've just been simply cracking the shell and slowly peeling off one little piece of shell at a time, which, by the way, takes forever. But I had a friend of mine, Sam, who told me crack the egg on the like the desk or the counter or whatever, and then if you roll it in your hands, the shell comes right off.
Or on the counter.
Yeah.
Okay, but I want to know why at this point in my life am I just now finding this out? Like, how do people find this out earlier?
Ooh. Life lessons never get taught at the beginning. That's why it's a whole lifetime of lessons. Life lessons. This is a life lesson.
Sticking on hard-boiled eggs for a second. If you cook them for 13 minutes, boil them for 13 minutes, and then immediately have a bowl of ice cubes in water, take them out of that and put them into ice cubes in water for another 15 minutes, it'll make them a lot easier to peel.
I do that.
Yes.
I cool them because I learned that too also
Uh-huh.
from Sam. And I learned that. So I was doing that. And then I've been, because I eat a hard-boiled egg almost every day. But only this week did I finally discover an easier way to actually get the shell off of there.
There
Yeah.
are also people that take and put an egg in like a container that's a little bit bigger than the egg, and you just shake the egg, and by shaking the egg, it breaks all of the shells. And then you
Yeah.
take it out and peel it that way.
Oh,
Mhm.
A different
So
thing.
I saw a really fancy video on Facebook the other day where this woman, she peeled off one end of it, put a hole on the, and then she like,
Blew it
I don't
out?
remember exactly how she did, and then she blew the freaking egg right out of the shell. I was like, holy cow.
wow.
I'm going to try that.
It was a cool video.
So another thing, like, you ever see those videos on Facebook that are like, 15 life hacks you need to know?
Yeah.
It's people who are spreading their knowledge of these life lessons that take, as Sam said, an entire lifetime to learn. So you can like skip like 50 years of your life and like learn the life hack right then and there.
We need to start a series that does those. Like we need to have a series of videos that goes through like the top 100 life hacks everyone needs to know. And Debbie's laughing like I should know this stuff.
I am laughing, Dennis, because I feel like this is something we need to do for you. I mean, I love you dearly. I do. I love you dearly, but it cracks me up some of the things that you're like, did you know? And I'm like, yeah, I did. I mean, yes, I did. So I'm fine with it. We could totally do that. I feel like it would be great for you. And I'm sure that there are some listeners out there that will probably have a few that they've never heard before.
You
So
think we may
Yeah.
need to make a life hack about how to make salt water?
Okay, we're ending this conversation right now. So I blame two people, my therapist and my parents. That's all I'm going to say. Just that's who I blame.
Why do you
Or
blame
maybe
your
I'm-
therapist?
Maybe I'm going to take this to my therapist. That's what it is.
Okay, let's say this isn't her fault. She's
Right.
not your mommy.
Hey, we've got a great show coming up for you. Right after the break, we're going to talk to our author, Michael Dank. Some people might say he's crazy. Some people might say he's an extremist. I say he's brilliant. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Whole new way to watch radio. The Dennis George Show continues after this.
The views expressed on Dennis George Show are not our own or anyone else's.
Listen at your own risk, and we cannot be held responsible for your ears burning, bleeding, or ringing, or the blurred eyesight.
Some things you will not be able to unhear or unsee, and for that, you are warned.
Not try anything we suggest or talk about at home, work, or in your car.
A reminder, there are no rules, and our show is intended for mature audience only.
Or at a minimum, those over your state's or country's legal age of consent.
Any experiments,
Jobs, skills, or sexual positions suggested
and or recommended,
are for comedy purposes only and should not be tried without supervision.
or a spotter.
Safety word or phrase is recommended in advance of trying anything new.
Any medical advice
Or comments that seem like medical advice,
should be reviewed with your own doctor.
or at least.
Check it on Google like we did.
Thank you, and good luck.
Now, back to our show. Here's Dennis George.
All right, welcome back to the show. On with us right now, we've got a special guest here. Micah Dank is in the house. Micah, how are you?
Good. What up? What's going on?
So you're this amazing author. You've got a series, and Into the Rabbit Hole is the series, and then there's 6 books, 3 that have already been put out. I guess
Right.
the first one was Beneath the Veil, and
That's
then
correct.
the second one was The Sacred Stones.
Right.
And the third one that just came out was The Secret Weapon.
Right.
How do you, I would rather you tell us, these books are kind of on crack. I mean, tell us what these
Yeah.
books are about.
Yeah. So basically, it has to do a lot with astrotheology and hidden codes in the Bible. Like if you've seen any of Dan Brown's work, like the Da Vinci Code or Angels and Demons, it's very much like that, but it goes in a different direction than that. These
I
are
was going to
actual,
say it sounds like Dan Brown meets almost Dostoevsky, actually.
yeah, it is. It literally is. Yeah, the Crazy Russian and Dan Brown perfectly. Actually, if you take Dan Brown's books and you throw in Neo from the Matrix instead of Robert Langdon, that's exactly where these books go, because they talk about a lot about conspiracies. They talk a lot about things that are hidden from public knowledge. It goes into a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but
And
but you've written fiction, but it's so but it's not like it's all that sort of conspiracy stuff that we know is really there.
Right.
That you kind of written into it. I almost liken it to even Tom Clancy, who writes fiction, but he uses
Yeah.
such facts in his writing that
right. Well, 1984 was fiction, right?
right.
Exactly.
Right.
So it's like the same. It's the same type deal. The
Yeah.
storylines are fiction. The
Yeah.
storylines are fiction, and the reason I put it in fiction is because it's easier to get away with things if you write fiction than it is if you write nonfiction books. Like if you write
Yeah.
nonfiction books about conspiracies, they come after you, but they kind of leave you alone if it's in fiction.
I was gonna say, have you heard from the CIA? I'm just curious, or DARPA, because and I guess you're right. You could say, "Hands off, buddy." It was fiction. I was just joking.
Or the
Yeah,
Vatican.
that's the Well, yeah, my first 2 books are about like declassifying information from the Vatican. There's stories about them,
Yeah.
so it is a lot like Dan Brown stuff.
Yeah, and your protagonist, tell us a little bit about him. Like has some alcoholism. He's got a little bit of some
Yeah,
problems.
so he's this really brilliant kid, but he's like not a conspiracy theorist at all. But his best friend is a Mensa kid. He's a couple years younger, and he's in Mensa, so he's this brilliant kid who is all into conspiracy theories, and he like drags him kicking and screaming into the rabbit hole. Like that's why I called it Into the Rabbit Hole. So he drags him kicking and screaming into the world of conspiracies, this and that, and then they find out that there's one that's very real, that they basically chase down. And then I'm not going to really give anything away, but these books are crazy. Like you got to check the Amazon reviews out, man. People are like, how like an Amazon reviews, basically people leave one line. They're like, great book. I was taking a shit when I read it, and or something like that to that effect.
Right.
Well, basically they're leaving like essays. They're leaving like books longer.
I noticed
than my
that. Yeah,
actual
I
book.
noticed that. Right, pages of reviews. And I'm like, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's
So
almost
let me
like
ask you a question about the conspiracy theories, if I can. So
Yeah.
in this day and age, when all these new theories come out, a lot of them fall into the category of either fake news or conspiracy theories. And with
Right.
what this country's been going through recently,
Right.
a lot of people are tending to stay away from conspiracy theories because the radical fringes of our society have kind of taken them over. So
Right, that's true.
I kind of want to know your thoughts on that area, and like how readers would still be drawn to the
Yeah.
series.
So basically, the conspiracy theories I talk about are all true. So, I stay away from things like, I stay away from the hardcore ones like Flat Earth, 9/11. I don't touch those. I don't touch those at all because I want no parts of that. But there's other ones, things that the government have done, things that the Vatican have done, that basically I just write about throughout the series. So yeah, I toe the line very well.
Okay.
It's when you read it, the main character is basically, you ever read Catcher in the Rye, Holden Caulfield? How it's a very like first person narrative where
Sure.
it's literally like you're figuring things out with him. That's kind of how I wrote this. It's very like, you're gonna figure things out. It's like a Hardy Boys kind of thing.
Yeah. Do the books, because I haven't had a chance to read them. Do the books flow from book to book? Like you're
Yes.
continuing? Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
It's one long elongated story, but basically the hidden codes behind them, the cryptograms and the anagrams like you'd found in the Dan Brown books, they're all conspiracy. I mean, they're not all conspiracy theories. They're all astrotheology, which is basically like the mythology of the zodiac. And
Mhm.
basically there's a lot of the zodiac hidden in the Bible. And basically that's where that is. But then the storylines have a lot to do with conspiracy theories and things that are out there, like what the pyramids really were, or like what the Vatican has done with its time, things of that nature.
How much? I mean, you obviously have to get into what you're writing, and you've done 10 years or more of research into all of this, so that a lot of what you're saying, I want to say it's factually based. I mean, you've put a lot into
Yeah.
this. How much of this do you believe? Like, where are you on the spectrum of what you're writing?
I would think that like
Are you crazy? Are you
So-
crazy? Are you crazy? Is really what I'm looking for.
I'm completely nuts.
Yeah.
But basically what I would say too is that my fourth book that's about to drop in March, I
Yeah.
wrote in 2017, 2018 before Corona, and it's a story about a really powerful organization that basically manipulates a vaccine and people.
Stop
You ever
it.
see Bird Box?
Sure.
Yes.
It's basically that. So basically they manipulate this vaccine so that in a couple of days people end up taking their own life. So they have to get to the bottom of it. So that's book 4.
So wait, coronavirus is your fault.
We've been looking for someone to put this on.
Yeah, it's all my fault.
Right.
Although
right.
coronavirus has been amazing for me though, because I'm just sitting at home selling books and I'm just basically doing interviews.
Right.
So it's been great
So
for writers.
I was going to ask you, how much do your readers have to buy into the conspiracy theories? But it actually sounds like you're leading them to the labyrinth, but they have to walk through it themselves.
Exactly. That's basically it, is that I hold your hand while you discover all this stuff for yourself. Lots
Thank
of
God, because I hate scary stuff, and I'm gonna need someone to hold my hand through this stuff.
Yeah, it's basically that's basically it, is I hold your hand and then you basically walk through this and you discover things for yourself. And then basically, I mean, like I said, just check the Amazon reviews. These aren't lunatics that are reading my stuff. I mean, some of them probably are, but
Right.
these are well drawn out reviews. I've got like 100 for my first book. I got like 108 reviews, and like 100 of them were 5-star.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reviews are they're very well worded. They're very put together.
Yeah. What is there? We talk about conspiracy theories and the kind of the political climate of where we are right now today, right? I mean, it's so polarized, far left and far right.
Right.
How do your books survive in that kind of temperament?
Because it's neither. The kind of conspiracy theories that I talk about are ones that no one knows about.
Mm-hmm.
They're ones that you're going to figure out. What people tell me that they do is they read my book the first time, and it's only like the books are only like 250 pages. They're not long, but they're so dense that what people end up doing is they just go back with a highlighter and they highlight things, and then they Google it and they're like, holy crap, that's real. And then after you do that like 15 or 20 times, you're like, all right, I'm just going to assume everything is real. So that's
Right.
basically how they go. Yeah. But these are not conspiracy theories that split the left or the right. To be honest with you, my publicist told me when I first got this book deal, they were like, do not get political because you're going to alienate your audience. And it's like Jordan said. Jordan was like, Republicans buy Nikes too. Why am I going to hate on them?
Sure.
So that's basically how I treat everything, is I stay away from politics. I just stay on conspiracies that nobody knew about,
Right.
but that are very shocking. They're like these books have a shock factor.
Yeah. Well, I could see that. And I'm a little concerned after reading all the reviews. I'm a little concerned. Like sometimes when you see something, you can't unsee it. I'm a little concerned about what am I going to know that I don't want to know.
Doesn't
That's
wanna
kind of
see
how that's
beyond
kind
the
of how it's
veil.
going to be.
It's
Yeah.
going to be. I sense that, like when you said you kind of let people take the path and figure it out. I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous about that. I'm not going to lie.
Well, I've got the digital copies of the first three, so when we get off, I'll email them to you so you guys can read them.
Okay, that'd
Oh,
be great. Yeah,
fantastic.
that's fantastic. Yeah.
So don't
Well,
worry, I won't charge you guys for it.
No, it's fine. These are all available for those listening on Amazon, and it's easy to find. All you got to do is put in search Micah Dank, Micha Dank, Dank.
No, MICAH.
MIC. Right. You're right. Thank you. And I'll put the links also in our on all our social media so people can.
Yeah, and the other thing you guys can basically do is you can go to not Amazon, I'm sorry. You can go to Facebook or Twitter and find me at Micah Dank. Okay, friend me, follow me, and you can reach out to me. And if you guys want like digital copies or you want signed copies, you could reach out to me. We can go around Bezos and
It
work
sounds
something
scary to
out.
me though. I think there's listeners out there who would be like, I don't know that I want him to know me. Like, I don't know. Like, there's this guy out there who knows all this stuff. Is he a Knights Templar? I mean, who is he really?
Well, the Knights Templars is they have a big part of my third book.
Yeah, I saw that. So, do you follow like the Oak Island mystery at all, and any of that? Is there anything that's currently in everyday life that you go, aha, see?
No. I'm telling you, these are conspiracies that you didn't know about, and then you're going to become well aware of them, especially the hidden codes in the Bible.
Yeah.
Because the Catholic Church tells you not to listen to astrology. It's in their Catechism 2116. They tell you don't listen to astrology, but I'm telling you, there's so much astrology in the Bible, and you're going to learn all of it if you read my books.
Yeah.
Do you think they tell you not to listen to astrology because they don't want them to figure it out?
Yes, that's exactly why.
Yeah, that's
if I had a longer presentation, I could show with you guys how the zodiac goes back 40,000 years to the Lascaux caves in France, the cave paintings, and then even further along through Egypt, through Israel, through everything, is that each sacred text are just astrology books.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, I think all this is incredibly fascinating. I think that people should really check it out. Check it out. Michael Dank has been our guest on the show. Micah, thanks so much for stopping in. We appreciate it.
Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right.
It's a whole new way to watch radio.
I don't know why we're listening to Al Green.
I like Al Green.
Yeah, I definitely like Al Green.
Smooth transition. That's what you were looking for. Smooth transition.
Yes.
I don't know that we want to read about more conspiracies. Like he says that there's a lot more. Thanks, Micah, for being on the show. He says that there's so many things you'll learn about that you didn't know about. And I already know of so many things. I don't know that I want more on the list. I'm just throwing that out there.
Lee will read them.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited to read these.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'd love to know more.
Yeah, I don't think, Dennis, you should read them. But that's because I know you, and I don't think that's really a good idea for you.
Right. No,
that's all I'm saying.
Right. Yeah.
I kind of want to see what he looks like.
Well, he has a Facebook page. We're friends now, so you can go take a look at that.
I got to do this.
We did post a link on our Facebook page and our Twitter as well. And it goes to the first book on Amazon. And when you find that first book, you can find all the other ones. Now, 3 of the books are out, and there's 3 more to come. So he's busy writing, and he was right to say I did check into it. His books are doing incredibly well, and a lot of folks are reading them. So he's on quite a few bestseller lists. But it's interesting. That's for sure. I don't know. The conspiracy theory. He calls them conspiracy theories, and that's become such a bad phrase for some real life things. UFOs were a conspiracy theory. And now we're finding out the UFOs.
So you think?
So I think. But that's my point, is that they're really not conspiracy theories. It's really real life. And he tells a lot of stories from the vantage point of this is real life. So it's definitely very interesting.
I still don't
I
think
like
you
it.
should read them. I'm just saying, don't read them, Dennis.
Does that mean he can listen to like an audible version?
No, oh God, no, Sam. You know what we're gonna have to deal with if he does that.
I kind of want to listen to it in my car.
Yeah, while you're going to sleep.
Oh, I don't know that you want to. If you listen to some of the stuff while you're going to sleep, I mean, you're putting that kind of into your subconscious. You're going to start dreaming about that stuff.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna get a 2 a.m. phone call from that one if he listens to it. I'm just saying, 2 a.m. He's like, "Help, Debbie, help! I listened to
Fine, it's
going to be a problem.
Yep. Hey, thanks again, Michael Dank, author. Again, Beneath the Veil, Into the Rabbit Hole is book 1. Book 2 is The Secret Weapon, and book 3 is The Sacred Stones. All part of the series Into the Rabbit Hole. Coming up after the break, weird people, and just a whole lot more. We're packed a whole lot into the show. Stick around.
Find us online at Pornhub. Sorry, wrong site. Find us online at DennisGeorgeShow.com.
Hey there, catch us 24/7 on social media. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Good Pods. On Alexa and Google Assist, say, play Dennis George Show podcast.
If you have a question or comment, send us an email at podcast@DennisGeorgeShow.com. Or if you're just looking for a date. If we read your question or comment on the show, we'll send you a Dennis George Show t-shirt. That's podcast@DennisGeorgeShow.com. Now back to the show.
So I was, we look for weird people news, and sometimes there's so much, there's an abundance of it. So we kind of jump around a little bit, but this week, a gentleman has created one ring to rule them all. This is a diamond ring. If diamonds are a girl's best friend, then what are 12,628 diamonds? Thanks to Indian jeweler Hashat Banzai. I'm sure I'm pronouncing Bonzo. Some lucky lady may soon find out. Bonzo broke the world record for the most diamonds in a single ring. That's 12,638 diamonds.
I was going to say how many carats, though, didn't it?
Yeah, so it weighs over 6 ounces, and that's the funny thing is I did a search, and doesn't tell us what the carats are, nor does he say, when he was asked what it's worth, he says it's priceless. But I did find the previous world record of 7,000 diamonds, which is about half, was worth 4.9 million. So maybe this ring's worth about $10 million, I guess. I don't know. But again, a diamond has different grades and different degrees of worth. Right. So it's kind of hard to find out. The marigold ring, by the way, is what it's called. And we posted a, this is great. So we put it on our Facebook page, and I wanted to read some of these comments because a lot of listeners have made comments over the week about this ring in anticipation of us putting this on the show. And what I asked everyone was, would you wear this thing? You can see a picture of it on our Facebook page because it's the thing is huge. It takes up literally the entire surface of your back of your hand. So I've asked people, would you wear this? John Hamilton says, can you say dislocated knuckle? Which is quite true. Think about it. It weighs almost half a pound. So you're carrying this around on your hand. Someone said brass knuckles for the rich. Many people said they would not wear it. Mari Short said she would definitely wear it. Lots of no, lots of absolutely not. A couple people said it was ugly. It is kind of ugly. It's sort of,
it looks
for somebody who can't see it, it's very gray. One listener pointed out that it was probably poor lighting. That if you put it out in the sunlight, it might really shine and you'd be able to see it quite differently. But
Would get caught on an Angora sweater.
It would get caught on more than Angora. That thing is ginormous.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think the lighting is very bad for the pictures that we have.
Yeah, no,
I feel like it would be prettier if the light there's one picture where it's an above the ring, and I think if there was better lighting, I think it would look better. But I'm with you guys. I don't find it very attractive, honestly.
Yeah. He tried to design it like a flower. It's got 8 rings inside the flower itself. By the way, the jeweler is 25 years old. Now, I just want to know, it's $10 million in a ring. This guy clearly is wealthy, or I don't know, but it sure sounds like a whole lot of money. That's for sure.
Hey, at $10 million, he's only got to sell one.
That's true.
How many doesn't want to sell it?
He says he doesn't want to sell it, actually.
Right.
He says it's priceless and he doesn't want to sell it. I'm guessing he broke the world record and he's going to dismantle it and move on. But I don't know. They don't speculate about it. Blood waters mystify a Japanese town. Officials in the historic city of Kyoto, Japan, were baffled this week when their beautiful riverside mysteriously changed from its typical blue hue to a violet red. Around 2:30 on Wednesday, locals strolling around the Kamigola River began reporting that a section of the water had a disturbing tinge to it. Upon inspection, officials traced the blood-colored liquid to a sewage pipe. They collected samples to try to find out what the source, but apparently it turned just a huge section of this river red. It's quite weird.
That's more popular. It happens more frequently than people think, really.
Yeah, chemical dumping, but there are some people who are speculating that it's, a sign from the gods that this is end of days, and this is the beginning of the end is when the rivers and the waters start turning red.
It's more about red tide, though, and algae bloom.
I was about to say, I think this is probably like an algae bloom. Like there was something in the pipe that the red algae just fed off of and exploded.
Right.
What if the river just lost its virginity?
She became a
first
woman.
Period.
She became a woman.
I'm just
She became a
saying.
woman.
It was a heavy flow day.
Oh my God.
A gusher.
So wrong. So wrong. Stop it.
Wrong. Another bizarre story. Rage-fueled rodents on a rampage. Residents in Queens, New York, have a new reason to stay home as aggressive squirrels have begun to wreak havoc on the Rego Park neighborhood. It's been a few weeks since the squirrels began viciously attacking residents who are simply going about their business. Apparently, these squirrels show attacks of rodents latching onto people's hands, legs, pants legs, arms. Apparently, it's gotten so out of control that this is dozens of attacks that have been reported. The city has hired a trapper, but apparently the squirrels are not taking the baits. They're still attacking people. And the city says, don't worry about it. It'll all be fine. Of course, the neighbors are all saying the city should take it a lot more seriously than they are. Because they say it's a matter of public safety. I got to admit, if I lived in a neighborhood and the squirrels were starting to attack people randomly, I don't know. I would just sort of question everything at that point. I would just
Kind
be
of like
like
the rats in New York City, when
right.
Yeah.
And they
lack of food.
It's true. We had a story a couple weeks ago where the rats have become overridden, that they're coming out of everywhere because the restaurants are closed.
Right.
So the rats don't have any place to go. So they're looking for food. Maybe the squirrels are doing something similar. I don't know.
Why don't they
Squirrels
just
are rats
hire-
with tails?
Why don't they just hire a whole bunch of hunters, and then after they shoot a whole bunch of them, then they could have a squirrel stew festival.
Squirrel stew festival. Is squirrel meat something that anyone has ever heard of people consuming?
Yes.
Yes.
People shoot them and
Yes.
eat
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Of course.
Really?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
My favorite part is when,
Life lesson.
is when the government says don't panic. All right. Rule number one: when the government says don't panic,
Panic.
panic.
So, okay. So my question would be, were these people at some point or somebody in that neighborhood actually feeding the squirrels
Right.
that led them to the point where the squirrels were expecting humans to be giving them food, and now that they're not being given food anymore, that's why they're raging at this point? That would be something I would be curious to find out.
That could make sense too.
Right.
Like a squirrel version of Rage Against the Machine.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what I got with word people. Debbie, you got a top 10 list for us this week.
I do. We have a top 10 list of weight loss myths. Now, I have been through a lot of diets. I've done a lot of stuff. I try to work out regularly, blah, 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 all that stuff.
Right.
So most of this I've read about and seen. So it's always good to revisit these, though. I'll be the first to tell you. So the first myth is skipping meals to lose weight. Starving your body is not an answer. It actually sends your body into I'm going to save everything that you next put into me because it's afraid
Yeah.
you're going to starve. So it actually throws your body into a bad cycle. Myth number 2, all calories are creatable. So if you haven't figured this out yet,
They're
what
not.
happened? No, I know, Sam. Life lesson, Sam. Life lesson. So the example that was given in this top 10 list is a cookie and a banana have about equal calories, but the sugars in the cookie actually react with your body in a different way than the banana does, because there are some natural sugars in a banana.
Right.
So the cookie spikes your blood sugar, causing you to crave more sugar, but the banana is a high fiber and gives you other nutrients that your body needs. So calories are not created equally.
Sugar is like cocaine. It is so addicting.
But it's so good.
If you really need sugar and you really want it in a good form, have a date. It's high in sugar, but it's metabolized differently than granular sugar.
And
I thought we were talking about an actual person a
Yeah,
date.
so was I. I was like, all
If
right.
you have a honey, you could do that too.
Okay, so myth number 3 is that you have to starve yourself to lose weight. And that's, again, goes back to the whole skipping meals. Starving your body is not a good way for your body to actually get to the point where it's losing weight. Again, because your body
Yeah.
goes into shock mode and it says, all right, you've starved me, and now everything that you put into me, I'm going to store because we need to survive. And it's just a bad way to be.
Actually, one of the best diets I've ever been on. Actually, once I've never eaten so much. It was just eating clean food.
Right.
Non-processed.
Yeah, and smaller meals more often.
Yeah. And that's a lot of people are going towards that with, you have 5 small meals a day. And so you're just not eating large quantities as you would have
Right.
during the 3 meals a day, and all that fun
I think
stuff.
there's also something to be said that a lot of people, hear about people that are anorexic, which is basically starvation mode on steroids. And that's super unhealthy. But people feel like, well, anorexic people are so skinny. If I just skip some meals, that's gonna help do it. And it's just so wrong.
Right. And every body type is different too. So what works for one person from a dieting and menu perspective will not necessarily work for anybody else.
Yeah.
So, you've got to bear all that in mind. Everybody's different, and there's not one magic bullet for all this stuff.
True.
That's just how it plays out. So myth number 4, eating at night makes you gain weight. So again, everybody's different. How people process food with their metabolisms, everything, it's just, functions differently. So eating at night does not make you gain weight, depending on who you are, how you process food.
And what you're eating.
And if you work a night shift.
True. Very true. Yeah. So for people with the swap day, I did at one point work a night shift, and it was an 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. shift. And so my eating habits were just bonkers because, my day was my night. It was just crazy.
I bet that was really hard to get used to eating that on that schedule.
Oh, it was definitely difficult, if only because of the fact that after I would work the 4th 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., I would then go in and work a 3 to 11. So I would sleep for basically half a day and then go in and work another 8-hour shift.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I was quite young at that point, and it was easier to adjust. Could not
Your body
do
can
that
handle
now.
it.
Yeah, could definitely not do that now. That's for sure. Skipping breakfast helps lose weight. That's not true. It's all about balance. It's all about, measuring what you're doing and making sure you're not overeating, eating the right things, all of that stuff. So cutting the fat. Now, I'm not saying that cutting the fat is a bad thing, but you can't get fat out of your diet completely because your body actually needs fat. So there's good
Right.
fat, bad fat. Avocados, if you like avocados, highly recommend them. Just made something with avocados. It's a chicken avocado casserole. It's pretty good.
Tablespoon
Olive
of
oil.
coconut oil.
Or olive oil.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Cutting out the carbs. So again, it's all about balance. Your body does need carbs on a daily basis. Fruits and veggies do have some carbs. There are simple carbs like cookies, cakes, and sodas. Bad.
Right.
Excuse me, very bad.
You want good
Complex
carbs.
Yeah, well, goes back to the whole sugar thing too.
Right.
Excuse me. Whole grain, read your ingredient list, pay attention to what you're eating. So, cutting out the gluten. Now, granted, there are people out there who do actually have gluten sensitivities.
Right.
Excuse me, but there's a lot of hype about it. So I think it's gotten a little more press and a little more importance than it actually should. So just pay attention and check out your entire diet before you just start blaming. Again, honest to goodness, people out there do have gluten sensitivities, but just
I don't think I have much of a gluten sensitivity, but I did find out when I do a lot of gluten and I'm sitting for a while in the evening and I get up, my knees hurt. When I cut
Yeah.
down on my gluten, that goes away because it's inflammation is what that's causing.
Yes. And one thing I will tell you that I found out, I read an article about tomatoes, and the seeds and the skin have a chemical in them that actually are really bad for arthritis. So I
Really?
if I could remember the name of the chemical, I would tell you what it is. I know it starts with a
Right.
T. But that's the extent of what I got right now because I read the article a few months back.
Not going
So
to
that's
stop
one
me.
thing that, yeah.
Right.
I don't get me wrong. I still eat tomatoes because I love tomatoes.
Me too.
But
Ew.
at this now, if I'm making something at my house, if I'm doing something myself, I am peeling and eating the tomatoes before I eat them.
Cherry tomatoes
Interesting.
too?
Pardon me?
Cherry tomatoes also?
I'm assuming it's every tomato.
I mean, do you peel cherry tomatoes before?
No,
you
no,
eat them?
I don't
That
use
sounds
cherry
like a
tomatoes
mess.
usually. I don't usually use cherry tomatoes. I'm using
know,
the
it's-
regular size aroma.
I remember whenever the gluten-free started getting really huge and everything, and I was down in New Orleans, and there was a customer that was looking for a gluten-free something, right? And they couldn't really find anything. So she decided that she was going to order a hamburger. And they were like, well, do you want to have the bun? And she was like, well, yeah, I want the bun. And I'm like, that's the gluten lady.
Yeah,
I was just like, oh my
Problem.
God.
Well, I will tell you that I used to play organized volleyball with it was a women's team, and there were two women who had the gluten allergy. And so I used to make chocolate chip cookies for the entire team, and that's what we would eat during the day. But when I found out that they had this allergy, Buckeyes, which are peanut butter balls, are gluten-free, naturally gluten-free. So that's what I started making. Was I would still make the chocolate chip cookies, but I would also make the Buckeyes for them as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
like
So
that.
just a little tip for any people that need to be gluten-free: eat Buckeyes. If you need something sweet, eat Buckeyes.
I love this.
Yeah. Diet soda helps you lose weight. Well, I think we all know that that's really not true. So the
there's
synthetic
just so much
sugars,
sugar in it.
yeah, the synthetic sugars are not good for your body. And
I'll take a Big Mac, 2 large fries, a chocolate shake, and
a
to make sure I
diet
don't gain
Coke.
any weight, I want a diet soda.
Diet Coke.
And I want a diet soda.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
funny.
So another little fun fact, and I don't know if this is true anymore, but when I was in school and I had to take home ec, my home ec teacher told us that there was more salt in their milkshakes than there were in their French fries at McDonald's. Now,
Wow.
things could have changed because that was a few years ago,
Right.
but
Interesting.
just a little fun fact there. And the last myth I have in here is that juice cleanses work. So the issue with a lot of juice cleanses is that they're high in fructose, so a high amount of sugars in the juices that you use to do the cleanse, and that's really not it is not beneficial at all. So what I say is, and granted, I am by no means any type of guru when it comes to this stuff, but everything in moderation. And you need to treat yourself occasionally too, because if you
Right.
spend your time eating salads or just chicken and rice, you're going to start having those cravings. So just moderation, and don't go out and get crazy all the time, but have your moments. Go enjoy yourself. Have the big burger with the bacon and the cheese. And I'm really hungry today too, so I apologize.
Yeah.
Like totally
Sometimes it helps.
oriented.
Sometimes it helps put your body into shock if you kind of plateaued to have like, no, you don't go out and get a Big Mac and the large, supersize it and everything. But if you go get a Happy Meal, you can get your craving for your McDonald's, but it kind of helps reset your system.
Right. So don't starve yourself. Just be smart, and everything in moderation. And don't give up on the sweets, because I have a huge sweet tooth too. So we can't give up on sweets. And I love to bake.
Chocolate.
If I'm looking for a cleanse, I'm going to go with the Chipotle colon blow.
Oh,
You
but
know, along
Chipotle
with
is
this-
so good.
Right.
Along with this list of stuff, mindful eating is something that people don't do. They eat their food too fast. So you don't do what your mom used to say, chew your food 30 times.
Right.
And if you actually do that, you'll be the slowest person at the table, and you'll find out what you really don't like, because when you chew your food up really well, processed foods taste terrible.
Yeah.
It's true. So
Anyway.
when during holidays, when I was home and my brother was there as well, at one point the three of us, my mother, my brother, and myself, were sitting at the table eating, and my brother started to choke on something, and my mother looked at him and she said, "I told you need to chew your food." And I said 20 to 25 times. And we're
30.
awful. Yeah.
None of you bothered to help him. Just were lecturing him. All
He
right.
was making noise, so he was fine. He was still getting air. It was good. It was fine.
You were just going to let it play out.
He wasn't choking. He just little
Maybe
went
maybe
down.
I need to get a food chewer.
I'm sorry.
What?
Maybe I need to get a food chewer. Someone who will chew the food for me.
And then
Yeah, there
spit
was
it
a
in your
thing
mouth like
that
you're a
on Saturday
bird.
night-
Right.
There was something like that on Saturday Night Live, remember?
Right. Then transfer it over.
Like that,
You're
You're
making
making
my
this
eye
was all
twitch.
yours.
Disgusting.
Dennis, you're making my eye
Ew.
twitch. Stop. You're making my eye
Right.
twitch.
Debbie, thanks for the top 10 list. We appreciate it. Coming up after the break, drug side effects with Mitch. These are drugs that have side effects that I think they might dwarf the reason for taking the drug. But stick around. We'll be right back.
It's a whole new way to watch radio. The Dennis George Show continues after this.
Have you all heard of Good Pods? Check it out because it's so good. It's a one-stop app for finding podcasts and sharing them with friends. You get it on the Apple Google Play Store. It's like Goodreads or Instagram or Twitter, but for podcasts. You can follow friends and influencers and see what they're listening to. Good Pod saves you from ever having to search to find interesting podcasts to listen to. And don't forget to follow Dennis George Show. We're on there. Simply search Dennis George Show, Good Pods on the app and Google Play Store.
Hey, this is Mitch from The Dennis George Show. If you have a question, comment, new sexual position, things I should do with Dennis's mom, or looking for a date, or even looking for a date with Dennis's mom, send us an email at podcast@dennisgeorgeshow.com. If we read your question or comment on the air, we'll send you a t-shirt. That's podcast@dennisgeorgeshow.com. And now, back to the show.
Well, we're back. Mitch,
And
what?
you sound so excited.
Yeah, well, I kind of thought Mitch would just sort of pick it up, and just kind of run with it. But he kind of had this look on his face like, where am I? Like,
Sorry.
that's
I'm waiting for your cue. This is the Dennis George Show.
Right, I
I'm waiting
know.
for you to be like, take it away, Mitch.
Right.
And now here's to Mitch with the side effects of the week.
So we all see these commercials on TV where they talk about, do you have so-and-so and then they mention the drug, and then they spend the next 20 seconds of the 30-second commercial telling you all of the side effects. And by the end of the commercial, you're thinking, I don't really want all those side effects. Like I'll keep the arthritis, or I'll keep whatever it is I'm trying to fix. So Mitch is going to give us each week a different example of a drug and its side effects. Then we can decide whether or not we were willing to take the drug to fix it. Mitch, what do you got?
So with several drugs, there is a side effect of unusual urges for gambling, sex, binge eating, and shopping.
I don't need a drug for that.
I don't see that's a problem.
Yeah, I don't need a drug. I don't need to take a drug for any of that. I'm just saying I've already got those side effects.
So, and a couple of these drugs are actually Requip, which I actually take for restless leg syndrome.
Is that what Requip is?
Yeah, it just calms your head for restless leg syndrome. And then also another one that causes this is Abilify, which is an antidepressant. And then there's a Parkinson medication called carbidopa.
Yeah.
That also has been known to have the side effect as well. But I'm trying to decide. I mean, it's like, you either don't sleep at night or you lose the house on QVC and at the casino.
Well, you could win at the casino.
Yeah. So your choices are sleeplessness, or you take Requip and you'll have urges of sex and gambling and shopping.
Yeah.
Those
And
are
I
your
mean,
choices.
even with the antidepressant, it's like, you don't take it and you get more depressed. Or you take it and you just get depressed because all you're doing is shopping and eating and going to the casino.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Antidepressants. You may have worsening signs of suicide.
that sounds like it's really going to be helpful.
Oh, yeah, that sounds like it's really going to be helping me.
You can
It's funny.
combine all three together and do
I don't get
buy
it.
edible panties on Amazon.
Oh my God.
See, look, Denny G just ties it all together there. Look at that go.
Right.
That's right.
Make it a real good
my
time.
God. Oh my God. Yeah, I don't know that what were you saying, Sam, that there's one that makes you more suicidal? Like, why would you want to take a drug that
Like
has
an
a side effect?
antidepressant.
Yeah.
A lot of antidepressants, like they say that you can have worsening symptoms of worsening thoughts of suicide. And I'm like, isn't that counterproductive?
Yeah, that means
Is
the
that
drug's
just-
not working.
Is that just a CYA though for them? So that like, this drug is not a miracle drug. It's not going to fix your whole problem. So that they don't get in a situation where, hey, I was taking Abilify, or my husband was taking Abilify and still, tried to hurt himself.
Right. Right.
Or what about the
depressing.
ones that are like, if you take this antidepressant, you may have diarrhea. Oh, so I'm going to be on a toilet depressed because I have diarrhea.
No,
Perfect.
you won't be depressed anymore because you're taking the drug.
You'll be so happy that you're on the toilet.
It's like a circle of life or something. I don't know.
Why are you singing in there on the toilet? Because I'm not depressed.
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
If you're happy and it, shit your drawers.
Oh my God. Oh, well, thank you, Mitch. I think thank you. I don't know. Thank you, Mitch. Listener email. We got a whole bunch of email, but one I just wanted to read from Lisa C from California writes. She says, quote, I just discovered the show while I was in hospital last week. Stayed up late listening. It's been a tough time for me and my family. With COVID, I was in the ICU for weeks, and they say laughter helps you heal. You all really helped me smile and heal. I had a great giggle out of it, and I look forward to every show during recovery and beyond. I love the aura of senselessness and goofy fun. That's from Lisa.
It's us.
Thank you, Lisa.
Aw, thanks, Lisa.
I hope you get better soon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Stay on the mending. And again, if you want to write us, it's podcast@DennisGeorgeShow.com. And if we read your email or comment question on the air, we will send you a Dennis George Show t-shirt. So Lisa C, you've got one coming your way, and we hope that you continue to be well and continue to listen as well. That's it for today's show, everyone. Any parting words? We don't really have a apology list, do we, Debbie?
I was gonna just say we offended no one in this show.
One.
Who do we offend?
One.
Who'd we get?
Richard Gere.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
that's
my
true.
bad.
That's true.
I was looking at this list. I mean, I wrote Richard Gere down really early, and I'm like, I don't have anybody to apologize
Nobody
to.
else. What have we done? I feel like we aired somewhere in the show that we don't have more apologies to hand out.
Yeah,
But
We were really good today.
we promise to have more people to apologize to next week.
Yay!
Yay.
All right, thank you all for watching, and we will catch you next week. See you later. Bye-bye.
Adios.
Y'all take care.
Thanks for watching.